girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
Typical. Microphone is working. Finally. Right, let's stick this on. Hello, Discord. Sorry about that. YouTube Studio has this like preview window, and wow, let's just say it ain't the best. It screws everything up. But well, it's there though. Hello, Blown Up. Hello, Midway. Hello, Ricky. Hello, BT. Who else have we got? Economics Mate. DJ, how you doing? Oh, Stream Elements, but you can't see him. So, how is everybody? Oh, we've got lots to talk about, I guess. This tank, for one, is now here. You can see it. You can buy it. It's expensive. What is it? It's basically a Conqueror. Difference being, you've got some, see where the 17 is? That's a bit of spaced armour on the front plate. And you've got this spaced armour here on the side cheeks. Other than that, it's a tier 9 Conqueror, really. Hull down, it can be a beast, don't get me wrong. It's not bad. And you can get the legendary camo, which is extra. And so are the equipment slots. In fact, it's all extra. You have to pay for it. T-34 Independence. I like the T-34. What is it? How much is it going for at the moment? It's going for
4,900.
Well, if you look here, yeah, 4,900. And if I go to premium tanks, and I roll down to the T-34, which is the same tank, 7,600. So absolutely worth it. Team Trouble, how you doing? Cool Dude Tanker, how you doing? So yeah, it's definitely worth it. I mean, of the stuff in the store at the moment, all the American ones that are there are worth it, to be honest with you. You've got the Chieftain Mark 6 in the store for 20,000 gold. It comes with all the equipment unlocked. And it comes with the legendary camo. So it's expensive, 20,000 gold. But when you consider it's going to cost you a shed load to buy it in crates, and it will, or to get the Super Conqueror.
Just get the E5, easy clubs.
So the Super Conqueror, if you buy 14 crates, it's going to cost you $100. You need 2 of those to be guaranteed the tank. You may get the tank drop in the first crate, you never know. But to guarantee the tank, guys, it's going to cost you somewhere in the region of $200 or £200, whichever one you call it. The other thing they've got is this, the T26E5 Sheriff, which is basically T26, just with a bit of a stronger turret. And that's going for like almost, well, $20. It's for a tier 8. It ain't cheap. The low is a good deal if you've got the money. I mean, you're paying, what, 15 quid, and you get quite a lot. You get all the equipment for your 500,000 credits. It's extra. It's not a bad deal, to be perfectly honest with you. And you've then got the Jade M4A2E4. It's a collector. It never used to be a collector, but it's a collector now. And if you like your tier 5s and you like your super jumbos, nothing wrong with this one. It's not an easy 8, it's an easy 4. Easy 8 is a different tank. But it's a nice tank. If you like those, but you know, it's going for what, $10, $12 roughly, $12? No, $5. Sorry, about $5 that. So that's not a bad deal. It's not bad. No, that's what's in the store anyway. It's not much. Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of tanks in the store, and of course, obviously, the big deal is this one here, the Super Conqueror, which I did a review on yesterday, and okay, it's T-34 equipment. Well, let's see what I have. I mean, I very rarely roll out the Independence, to be honest with you. Why? Because it's the same as the T-34. It's the same tank. The only difference being is obviously this one's got different camo. So the equipment I use on it, then it's the wrong equipment. So if I look at my T-34, which is the one I roll out more, and the reason I do that is because I like changing the camo. So you can see here I have it with calibrated shells. Why? Because it's an American tank and I just want that extra oomph. Stick the defense system on it, stick the improved optics, enhanced gun laying device, improved assembly, engine accelerator, and vertical stabilizer. I don't bother with the other two. I'm not interested in the cooldown boosters and stuff like that. Provision wise, I stick it in with the case of Conq, the protective kit, and the improved fuel. Why? Because I want the crew to be extra shit hot when it goes when it comes to loading the damn thing, and I want it a bit quicker when it comes to traversing. So I always put those in. What's the AD? AD is Arab Emirates dirhams, because obviously I'm in Dubai, so all my shop is in dirhams. That's what that is. That's what I use for the T-34. Dubai, how you doing? West coast of Florida. Wowzers. You guys are shutting down again, aren't you? On the west coast of Florida. You're going into lockdown again. Yes, Sarah, I've seen your email. Thank you very much for that. Talking about that, let's get some of these going. Let's start with ITC Tanker, because he's in Discord. Oh, he wasn't. Yes, he's in Discord. So
Wait, now I gotta go look at YouTube.
so the Super Conqueror, it's not a bad tank. I did the review, and quite a few things came up on my Discord. And I just want to make it clear, I'm not saying the tank is crap. It's not crap. I'm saying it's expensive for what it is. Now, you may be lucky to get it in the first crate. Some people have. I know a few people have got it in the first crate or the third crate. But to be guaranteed that tank, you're going to have to spend close to $200, if not slightly more. Which, it's a tier 10 collector. The thing is, for your $200, which is what I was trying to say in my review video, what is the extra bang you're getting for your buck? And, well, you're not, in real terms. What you're getting is a collector that is basically the same as the tier 9 Conqueror, albeit with better gun depression, because the tier 9 only has 7 degrees, the Super Conq has 10, slightly faster reload, but it's the same gun handling as such, but it's slightly faster reload, which brings the DPM up, and you've got some additional armor, which means you have additional hit points. Now, yeah, I understand that, but the thing is, the 215B is a tech tree tank, and it's just as good as the 215B. Haul down the 215B is a beast, just like the Super Conqueror. The 215B's gun, I believe, is slightly better. The DPM is slightly better. The armour on the Hall is not as good, but the turret armour on the 215B is fantastic. And then, of course, you've got the Mark 6. Now, the Mark 6 is a similar tank to the Super Conq, and insofar as it's got a very, very robust turret and a slightly better gun, and it's slightly cheaper. So, I mean, the thing about the Super Conq you have to remember is it's been very, very hyped. A lot of people hype this tank, mainly because they've been looking at it from the view that basically, while at the end of the day, it's in World of Tanks PC and it's OP. And that's one good thing. It's not OP. It's not broken in any way, shape or form. It's not rubbish. I'm telling you, it's not a bad tank. But, like I said in my video, personally, that tank should have been realistically a tech tree tank. And as a tech tree tank, it wouldn't have been, it would have been ideal, would have been perfect. But $200 for crates, it's a lot, guys. And that's the thing. That's the only reason I don't like it, is because it's great that you now have a limit on the amount of crates that you need to buy to get a tank. I think that's fantastic stuff. I think that's brilliant. And I'm glad Wargaming have done that. But you're still spending a lot of money. Okay, it's that simple. So, and it's a tank that does not live up to the hype that's come with it, and that's the only complaint I've got about it. Aside from that, I played the tank. I did the review on the tank. I'm not going to slate it as much as Meadsy did, where Meadsy was saying it's a difficult, it's almost impossible to win in the damn thing. It's not. I'll be honest with you, it's not. It's a nice tank. It's just disappointing for the price and because of the hype, but it's certainly not a rubbish tank. To be fair,
Mark 6 is much better. It's cheaper in store.
And here's Stubbo, and yeah, Mark 6. I'm just saying that the Mark 6 is a better option. To be honest with you, and it is.
I really thought that 4.6 was gonna kill me there.
Yeah, that was a good game, mate.
I won't tell you I landed 3 of the Conquerors in my crates, but there we go.
Oh, you see, so it can be done. Look, it can be done. Let's have a go at Not Banana Jones' AMX 50-100. Yeah.
Whoever is playing in the M41, why do you not have any HE? The HE is beautiful.
That's very true.
Just put an HE with calibrated shells.
Because I suck with HE. Because I suck with HE. Even if it's hat/hatch, I would still suck with it.
Man, if for me, the rule of thumb is if you're not doing well with something or not doing well in a tank, it's an opportunity to learn. That's how I see it. But
well, honestly, the reason I use full AP is because I used to be free to play and shooting HE in most tanks. I'm not saying you can't do it in that Bulldog, but in most tanks, especially mediums and lights, shooting HE is just a very bad idea.
But it's cheaper. It is cheaper.
Yeah, but AP is the second cheapest. I'm not going to shoot APCR or anything like that.
No.
That's expensive. Especially if you're free to play, you can't afford to be shooting much APCR or any
free to play.
ammo. Because
It's funny, I had this discussion last night in an E100 on a live stream where I was doing 5x5 skirmishes, and somebody commented, I basically shot a T-54, the American T-54, the T-57 Heavy up the backside with HE, and I only rolled out actually with HE in the E100 and the 5x5 last night, and somebody said, why am I using that? And it's an underrated part of the E100. I mean, the HE on the E100 is fantastic.
oh,
It's absolutely fantastic. If you know how to use HE, you know where to, obviously, you know which parts to point and shoot at. And it's the same with, as I was saying there, it's the same with the Bulldog. Certain tanks, their HE capability is really undervalued. Mainly because people are either A, don't know how to use HE properly, or B, for the same reason they think it's more expensive, or whatever. But yeah, it's a thing that I find a lot. And then obviously I see people using HE incorrectly, but the E100 is one of those tanks. And it's playing Kareem. Kareem once got me. Agile Hippo, how you doing, mate? Kareem once got me to do 3,000 damage in an E100 with just using HE, and it's possible, guys. It's an unbelievably good tank for HE.
Well, all high caliber guns.
HE is generally the cheapest ammo on a tank, but unless you can pin with it, you're not going to do much.
Yeah, that's why I say you've got to. I mean, you've got to use it on high caliber guns or high pen guns. But
yeah,
anything high caliber, you've got to learn to use the HE on.
Absolutely.
or anything with a hash-like shell. Like, I mean, the M41 Bulldog has like over 100 millimeters, I think. Especially with the calibrated shells.
Yeah, but I did well enough there without using HE. So.
Yeah, but I mean, in
I'm
some
just
situations, if
used to
you've got
rolling with-
of heavies
I'm
to
just
pop,
used to rolling with full AP from my free-to-play days. It's just, that's all that is.
I'm great, thank you, Agile Hippo. Thanks for dropping by, mate. Yeah, seriously, I mean, someone said here, Nob Sabot has said, pretty sure either Martin Dogger or Meaty did a video where they used HE only on the 113. On the big guns, it's an underrated capability of the tank. You will see people, for example, you will see people with the E100 switching between the AP and the heat. You don't need the heat sometimes, because what you get with the heat, you'll get just as well with the HE. Funnily enough, if you know where to aim, and that's the trick. It's aiming the gun, and that's where people come unstuck. So with the heat, obviously you get better penetration. So it's more. You can sort of aim in very different, many areas.
Yeah, because the few times I have briefly used HE, even on a big gun, I tend to just splash something in the face because I don't know how to shoot. Or even if I shoot them in the side, it just does splash damage. It's not
Yeah.
easy to learn how to use it.
No, but it's. I tell you what though, if you know how to use it, it's a really valuable toy in your arsenal, especially when you're playing against certain tanks. Like take the T62, the Object 140, even the T54s. They turn their backside to you, and you're in a tank that's got good HE capability. You can wipe them out by sticking it up. Yeah, I mean any waffle tractor, grill, blah blah blah. Then you'll wipe them out. I was in a tournament, a tier 10 tournament the other day, and there was an IS4 haul down, and I think I was in a 113, I can't remember. I was either in a 113 or an IS4 myself, and it was on Dynasty's Pearl, and he was absolutely certain he was hauled down, nothing was going to hit him, and I just HE'd his turret hatch for 400 every time. Bang, bang, bang. And, you know, knowing how to use it properly really does change the style of your gameplay.
Well, yeah, and if you can use HE properly, I'm sure it'll kind of help, because the HE is generally the cheapest ammo. Same
Yeah.
with the T49, which has premium HE, which is stupid.
Agile Hippo here from Winter War has just said, HE is not used enough, but on the other hand, it's good for us to use it or drive the paper tanks. That's very, very true. Very true indeed. But yeah, seriously, get out there, go with a buddy, get into a training room in your favourite tier, and just try and find where you need to smack things with HE. And trust me, your gameplay will change significantly.
Especially in tanks like the RU-251 and the British Lights and the
Yeah.
Bulldog. They have great HE pen for...
Yeah, it's like
That's because it's hash/hat, not
Well, yeah, but
not
then,
regular.
but you're given that opportunity to really, like, what multiply by 1.3, 1.5-ish, something like that, your DPM, and multiply that by that, something. I mean, why wouldn't you use that? I mean, you can pen the sides of levers in your RU-251s and in your Bulldogs.
Well, talking about the 251, imagine this. I mean, a 251 up against a VK100 from distance. You splash HE into that turret cupola, and you'll do more damage than you will with your AP.
Huh, I didn't think about that. That's good.
Oh yeah, and because the RU-251 has got good aim. So if you wait for the reticle to come down, the chances of you hitting the cupola is very high on the VK.
But speaking of the VK, a tank that struggles against is an EXP. If you're in a face-hugging situation, so
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, this is what, because don't forget, even if you miss with HE, the chances of you doing splash damage is perfect. And this is why a lot of the players say to you, if you're on Supremacy, the easiest way to reset any base is just fire HE at whatever's in the base. Because even if you don't do your 200 damage, you'll splash damage and automatically reset the cap. And that's a lot of players do that. And you know, when they do tournaments, that's what the tournament players are doing. They're splashing the tank, capping the base with HE just to reset the base. That's it. They're not trying to do massive damage. They're trying to stop them getting cap points. And that's the good thing about HE. And it's also good, as I said, when you've got tanks that are in haul down positions that are really difficult to hit. Splashing them with HE, even if you're just taking a little bit out of them, you're still taking something away, and it still keeps their heads down. It's a really useful tool to have, HE. And a lot of people do believe it's only for the big derpy TDs. It's not. It really isn't. Admittedly, there are some tanks out there that have got really bad HE capability, but not all of them. Lockney there in the waffle tractor case, a waffle tractor, he just smacked HE straight into that VK, into the turret, into the cupola, and just wiped it out for 600 HP. That's true, Anti-Lipo. A lot of people don't realise how good that is. But anyway, so yeah, HE. Seriously, you should look into learning that one and utilising it a lot more, because it really is good. Really is good. So there you go.
No, I think it was a VK100. There was a battle recently where I hit the top of a tank, and I was like, how the heck did that hit? Like, I had no idea.
Yeah. No, yeah.
It's random sometimes.
Yeah, it's good. It's there's lots of different mechanics in the game that a lot of people don't realise, unfortunately. Well, it depends which way you look at it. So, if you know them, then it gives you an advantage. If you don't know them, then it's unfortunate. Because boy, it does change your style of play a lot, and it's a lot cheaper sometimes than, as I said, using your premium ammunition. Because even premium ammunition will bounce. It won't always pen.
I know that from when I did try to use premium ammo, and I would have been better off just not using ammo.
Well, I mean, the premium ammunition that is very difficult to use. Yet people think because it's premium, it's just going to pen everything. Is Hesh, the HE that you get on the FE202, the FE4202, and the Death Star, and heat, because spaced armor will stop all of those.
Or tracks. I see so many people who load the heat round and they just try to pen the tracks, and then it's like,
Exactly.
how and I'm like, dude, it's heat. It will just.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean-
sometimes even AP won't pin a track. It's kind of iffy.
But this is the thing about those ammos. I mean, you're right. I see people firing heat into tracks, and it just doesn't work, because it just dissipates the ammunition. And then people say, oh, but it's premium ammunition, why am I not penetrating? Because it's heat.
Here's how I see APCR. It just opens up areas, or it makes, like, say you have AP loaded, and you can see a little sliver you pin, and then you load APCR, it just makes that area bigger.
Mhm.
That's what it does. But you're reducing your damage on the shot, and you're spending more credits for the shot to do that. So
But at least you're doing damage.
yeah, that's true. But I don't really like premium ammo because it's so expensive.
Well, I'm not a massive fan. I mean, if you see my live streams, it's very rare that I load the premium ammunition unless absolutely necessary. I'm not a massive fan of premium ammo. The reason being is because using your standard ammo helps you aim better, to be honest.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, take for example, going back to tier 10 and the E100. The E100 has a it all looks bright red front on to most tanks, but it does have a very vulnerable turret ring. But if you've got APCR loaded, you don't see that, because the cheeks can become wide open, and that's what people generally do. They aim for the cheeks, but you can hit the turret ring and cause a lot of damage on an E100. Funnily enough, it's not the easiest shot to do. Don't get me wrong, but that's where it. It helps with your aiming, because you see, especially in tournaments, you'll see a lot of the better players, a lot of the pro teams, they very rarely bounce. And the reason they very rarely bounce is because they're very good at aiming. Okay, tournaments they use a lot. They do use premium ammo in tournaments as well. Don't get me wrong.
Tournaments, it's only premium ammo.
There you go. But you could, like I said earlier, you will still bounce with premium ammo. It's not like you won't bounce, because you still will. But the thing is, you know, I've seen guys in IS4s in the tournaments I've been in at tier 10 bouncing left, right, and centre. Whereas you very rarely see that with the top players. And the reason being, they know where to aim and they know how to use the ammunition. It's a big difference. It makes a huge difference. Although Stubbo will decry and moan that the other day everything bounced RNG for him.
I bounced a 183 off the backside of my Vickers CI. 930 shell. That'll do me nicely, thank you very much.
Stubbo and I were in a brawl the other night. He was in his 112-2 and I was in an Object 252U. And he bounced everything. His RNG was certainly not with him.
I was trying to keep you occupied for other reasons, but anyway.
Yeah, but the RNG certainly wasn't with him in that game. But so it does go against you sometimes.
Oh yeah, Wise Alan mentioned premium AP, but premium AP is different from the others. Instead of getting better penetration, you lose penetration and get better damage.
Not always. The SU-100Y, the SU-100Y.
For that.
No, the Hori tanks, they have higher pen on their premium rounds, and they only lose a bit of damage. But it's not automatically that if a premium round is AP and the regular round is AP, that you'll do more damage. That's only like SU-100Y.
No idea, Ricky.
I know about the Japanese TDs. I guess they're different, but on the other, the 130 and some other tank, it's the premium AP does less penetration but more damage.
Yeah, but it's only on 2 tanks.
Like 3, you have the Frankenstein.
But premium AP is pretty rare compared to Heat and APCR.
Yeah, because don't forget. The SU-100Y's standard AP is better than its AP. So, but I once did a video on ammunition. I think I have to do another one. Because a lot of people a lot of new players don't. I saw a poor chap the other day firing HE left, right, and centre, and it was, it was at me. You know, what was I in? I think I was in an IS4 or something, and he was just hitting the side of me all the time. Boom, boom, boom.
HG spammers are more annoying than me bouncing AP shots off the tanks. But I know where I should defend them, but I keep missing my dang mark, and it's.
Absolutely, Agile Hippo. That's one I see a lot, where you see people hitting the IS4, spamming heat into it. I see that a lot. Yeah, but I may have to do another video on that because I've just sent Wargaming a request to use some of their footage from one of their other videos, from one of their official videos, from following on last week's conversation about spotting. So. Let's see what they say, because I don't want to get copyright striked. But if you haven't seen it, World of Tanks PC, Wargaming did an official video for World of Tanks PC, both on ammo types and on spotting mechanics. And it's the same mechanics. What PC and World of Tanks Blitz, same mechanics, guys. So go and check them out as well, because they're interesting to watch.
Same mechanics, smaller maps, and smaller teams.
Basically, some of the things that they say in the spotting stuff, because obviously we don't have the spotting circle, etc., the view range circles and stuff. But the mechanics of where the viewports are, and there's only 2 viewports per tank, compared to the spot points, of which there are 7, is exactly the same for Blitz as it is for PC. So it's always, because a lot of people don't understand how they're getting spotted. And it's generally because you see, for example, I see players thinking they're in the perfect position. They're in a bush, and their camo net is on, and they think, nobody can see me. And then they rock on their tracks, which actually
Yeah.
Takes away the camo net, everything.
Unless you're in a light tank, you should not be moving because that lowers your camo rate.
Agile Hippo, yeah, I totally agree with that. Armor Inspector
Also,
is
speaking of
fantastic.
viewports- Speaking of viewports, those very rare instances where someone hits your viewport and does no damage.
That's very true. Although
Like
sometimes,
that-
although they do take out your commander sometimes. But yeah, I mean, if you get the chance, honestly, wargaming admittedly it's for what PC, but it is the same mechanics. Spotter mechanics for PC is the same as Blitz.
Mechanics thing.
Yeah. So, you know, if you don't know where your spotting ports are, and as I said, there are 7 of them, it's a big help because a lot of people don't realise why they're being spotted. So, there you go. So Dukadomi's put the links in actually on YouTube. Thank you for that, Dukadomi, because they are very good videos. And a lot of people discount them because thinking it's just PC, but no, they're not. They are good videos for that sort of stuff. Oh, so anyway, that was that. 5 versus 5 skirmishes. What do you think? I think it's fantastic.
It's too small. It's not. I like to for like light tanks and it's really well supported in my opinion.
5 versus 5, I think I've won about. I think I've been pretty balanced on winning and losing in 5v5. It's definitely not good for something like my Borsig. Just the way I play the Borsig is better in regular battles.
Well, I mean, a couple of things that I've taken from it so far. If, for example, they're doing so. Yesterday they had the 5x5 quick tours, which was good. And we've also got 5x5 skirmishes. Now, the thing I've taken from the 5x5s at the moment, looking at the quick tours, if you're in a clan that is looking to practice how to push, they're ideal. They're great. Because you've got such a small map and such a small amount of time. If you want to learn how to push effectively, then this is an ideal format. It really, really is. And, you know, it's better to learn to push outside the training room in something like that than it is in the 7v7 in completely bugger it up in you know, lose out completely. I mean, I like it. I think it's good for that. I also think it's good because when you've got a condensed map, it allows the newer players to understand the positioning a lot better on those maps.
Yeah, what Mitzi already said that players can understand other sides of the map, learn different sides of the map.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Maybe where they normally don't go, they have to go there now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Agile Hippo. Catch you again soon, mate. No, I agree, and I think these are some of the benefits of having this 5x5 skirmish. Because it's like you know, you're not losing win rate, you're not losing stats. Okay, you're losing credits, big deal. You're not losing things that are going to hurt your stats and stuff. And for that, you can try new things. It's a fast-paced game, and treat them like a training room. I mean, I love it. I think it's great. I think they're fantastic. And you know, I think new players and old players alike can learn some new things on it. It's disappointing. There's only 3 maps. Is it 3 maps? It's Oasis.
4.
It's Desert Sands,
Yamato
Yamato Harbour,
Death
Dead
Rail.
Rail. And what's the
Dead
4th
Rail.
one?
What is the 4th one? Falls Creek, I think. I think I got on.
Yes,
Falls Creek. Yeah, that's the 4th
Yeah,
one. That's
Falls
right.
Creek.
It's Fall Creek. So I mean, these, as Jory said, you know, and as Meadsy said, apparently, I've not seen that video to be fair. It'll teach players areas of the maps that they've never seen before, which is fantastic. Because you see lots of people not going to going to positions that you wouldn't even dream of going to, because they've got such a big map to play with. And as I said, it allows you, if you're in clan or you're in a platoon, it allows you to learn how to push effectively, because you're on a smaller, narrower part of the map. I think it's fantastic. And
to learn good positions on others.
absolutely. Absolutely, and as I've said before, wargaming do get things right from time to time, and this is one of the things they get right. And I think it's a good thing, and maybe it's something they should look at doing more permanently. Who knows? Who knows? Because I think it will be a good idea. Which brings us on to the next. So I mean, that's skirmishing. What's everybody's thoughts on the skirmishing, though? I know somebody said they didn't like it.
I like it. It's good for grinding,
I think it's okay. I'm not great with it, but and I got chewed out by a Leopard PTA because I was playing the VK 100 in it, and we lost, and I was the last one left alive, and then and I tried to cap the base, almost had it, and then their T92 just ruined that. But I mean, there wasn't much I could do. I was so slow, and there was tier 9s, so it's like the heck.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to win all of them. I mean, I had some great games yesterday in the FV301 where I managed to circle to death 2 almost VK100s at the same time. And, oddly enough, I circled to death another FV301.
Huh.
In an FV301. Work that one out then. How do you circle to death an FV301 in a 301? It's fantastic.
He must have been a Muppet.
Bless him. Oh, but yeah, I mean, that was both in skirmish mode, because you can do things in that mode that you wouldn't normally do in full encounter 7v7, because the maps are bigger and you've got more space. And I went out in an SP1C as well, and we were on not Falls Creek, we were on Dead Rail, and I went and spotted the middle, and then ran all the way back to the TD position to farm. Because you can do things like that in this skirmish mode that you wouldn't do in 7v7.
I kind of like playing Dead Rail and skirmish mode, especially with my Panzer 58.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not a massive fan.
Valley, so I'm just like, I'm gonna go spot in the middle of that little hill there.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Dead Rail as a tournament map, to be honest with you. Because it's not a map you can rotate. So if you go one side, it's not... For example, think of maps like Canal in Desert Sands, where if you look at the bigger tours, the pro tours, you'll see them rotating around from one side to the next to flank or to push. You can't do that on Dead Rail. That's one of the maps you just can't do that. You can even do it on, you can do it on Falls Creek to an extent. You can do it on Rockfield. Dead Rail, you cannot rotate. It's almost impossible.
It's probably for reasons that Martin Dogger pointed out in his recent video, where he said, and he also mentioned mines, saying that both were broken. And honestly, I don't like mines. It should be gotten rid of for higher tiers.
Well, Mines is a strange map because it's, generally speaking, whoever can dominate the hill can dominate mines. But that's not always strictly true. It's not always strictly true. Hey, Rado, how you doing?
No, it's not. But Mines is just a carbon copy of the PC one, and it's reduced in size. That's pretty much it.
But yeah, I mean, Dead Rail, I always found Dead Rail a very tricky tournament map. It's not the easiest tournament map. As I said, it's about, if you decide to push one side or the other, you have to push it. You have no choice. It's as simple as. And, sometimes if you're in the TD position, then you're in the TD position. And everybody knows where the TD positions are. And it becomes, well, it's just one of those things. That's not my favourite map for tournaments. Not a bad map for normal gameplay, don't get me wrong, because you can manipulate it. If you go if you've got a haul down tank, holding that ridge is pretty straightforward. But tournaments, nah, it's not Not a great map. I don't think. Not my favourite.
Yeah, I could see how it wouldn't be a tournament map.
Well, I suppose it's good because it's unpredictable. I think that's the nature of it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for tactics, you have to apply different set of tactics to it. As I said, you can't rotate like you can on most maps. You know, if you can't, like you see with most of the Pro Tours, they try to exploit, they try to probe where the weakness is, and then push that weakness. You can't really do that on Dead Rail, as such. Whereas, take Canal. You know, you'll always get a team either by ready to push the C cap, or they'll rotate round to where the B cap to where the B cap is. But you can do that rotation, but you can't do that on Dead Rail. But that's what, as you said there, I suppose it makes it more unpredictable, which is nice. So dealing with skirmishes out the way now. Next one, a lot of people are complaining. Well, I don't know if that's true. Nobody's complained to me as such, but I've heard, I've seen it on the one of the channels on the Wargaming official Blitz Discord is for tournament streamers, and I'm in that because I'm a streamer. And a lot of people have been complaining about the Tier 8 Summer Ascent. So what's your guys' views on this? Now I know a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people aren't happy about it. Like I said, I've heard a couple of grumblings here and there, but the how can I say this? I actually think it's a good idea. Let me get that out of the way first. I think it's a good idea because it opens clan wars up to clans that would never normally partake. Because a lot of clans won't venture into tier 10, where you'll get more clans venturing to tier 8. Number one. Things I don't like about it is obviously it's all premium tanks and it's premium spamming. That's the downside to it. But the upside is it has the potential to bring more people into the clan wars type range, which I think is a good thing. But again, I heard a lot of people are complaining. So what are your guys' views on the tier 8 summer tournament?
It's all premiums and I hate it, especially for free-to-play players. It's hard to win.
Yeah, I think you should stop driving the 252U, Fugit.
Yeah, I think I should as well. Well, I did the other day. I went into the 112-2.
I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, it's overrun by the bigger teams that haven't got a tier 10 tournament.
Yeah.
So it's tougher than previous things of the same ilk, but that's a good thing in my book. I mean, it's a good challenge.
Well, that's what I've been arguing. Yeah.
Yeah, for the middling teams, there are opportunities to pull out the odd upset here and there. Good stuff.
Well, this has been my argument. I was saying, forget the meta side for the moment. We'll get to that later. But the opportunity. I mean, look, I know players who are good players who are in clans that would never dream of rolling out in a tier 10 tournament because it's out of their comfort zone. They don't have the opportunity or the time to do the training required. Whereas tier 8, they know the tanks, it's in their comfort zone, they play tier 8 quick tours more than they play tier 10 quick tours. And for that, it gives an opportunity to open it up, which I think is fantastic. I do think it's fantastic. And one of the arguments I put forward the other day on the Wargaming Discord was, I think it's great if the top teams and top clans are moaning because it shows that they're outside their comfort zone. And some of them are. I mean, Agile Hippo was on earlier and I was talking to him after we played against Winter War in one of the Ascents. We lost 2-1 to them. But I was having a chat with him afterwards and he was telling me, we're trying to match tier 10 strats to tier 8 tanks. And we're trying to work out which tier 8 tank fits with which tier 10 tank that we do the strat for. And it's so outside our comfort zone It's alien to us, is what he was telling me. And I can understand that, because, you know, the top clans are used to tier 10. Or their strats are tier 10. They know the tier 10 tanks like the back of their hand. They know where to put what tank in what position, you know, and they work on it a lot. So I understand that it can be frustrating for them, but I think that's great. I mean, if it can throw it around a bit and change the domination of the usual suspects in the top 8, I think that's a great thing, personally. No disrespect, Jory, because you're in one of those clans that's usual suspect at the moment in the top 8. But I think it's great. I mean, and this is why I flew the flag for Vale in the spring season, because they were not seen as a top 8 clan. And I think that's fantastic that they did what they did. And why would I sit there and say, yeah, go Endgame, yeah, go Legion, yeah, go Raid? I mean, they're always there. Sodom, go Vale, go the underdog. That's what I say. And I think it's great.
Up?
Hello, Emilio.
Hello.
Emilio.
And I that's what I love about it. That's why I love the tier 8 clan wars at the moment. I admit the meta, and I did say maybe if they do this next time, they should limit it to 2 premium tanks per team. Because...
Well, Fugit. The funny thing is that the clans are not even spamming premium tanks.
No, exactly.
Not all. And the less experienced clans are all spamming premium tanks.
Absolutely. And this is what I was saying, you know, you should maybe restrict the premium tanks to 2 or maybe 3 or whatever, because people are complaining about the meta. But it's no different to, you know, tanks get spammed in tier 10. They may not be premiums, but they're still spammed in the Pro Tours. IS4 comes to mind, E5 comes to mind, Sheridan for the spring season comes to mind. It probably won't be spammed anymore because of the nerf, but, you know, they were spammed. So you do get spamming of tanks.
But yes, but everyone can get those. Like, as a free-to-play player, I can get a WZ121FT or whatever.
Mm-hmm. No, no, I agree with that. And that's why I'm saying maybe they should limit the amount of premiums. I wouldn't say remove all the premiums from tier 8 tournaments of this nature, because the idea being you want to encourage more people to play clan wars, I would have thought. And I've always been, you know, I'm with Rolling Swarm on this, the man, the myth, the legend that is Rolling Swarm, who I believe is like the super duper PR manager guru of R2K. Shh.
Yeah, he's playing in that team.
Yes, he is. And well done to R2K and Zerd for getting him streaming again. That's what I say. But I'm with in on this insofar as one of the biggest selling points and one of the biggest things that Wargaming have got for Blitz is Clan Wars, because it really could make it can make a huge impact, because it's fast and it's furious and it can be exciting. So the more people who are getting involved, maybe, because I think it really is a feather in their cap. But anyway, I mean, I like it. I can see it can cause upset, but some of you don't like it then. So some of you don't like tier 8 clan war.
I prefer tier 10.
Yeah.
Amelia, you prefer tier 10 no matter what.
That's true.
You prefer random battles to be tier 10.
Obviously.
Exactly. You just like tier 10. Oh, Sarah sent me the wrong replay. She's now emailed me the right replay, but you're watching Sarah's wrong replay. Oh dear, Sarah. What to do? We rolled out in a live stream last night, and I was in a 183 on skirmish, and Sarah was in a Vickers, and boy did she get smacked. So did Dukadomi actually, and so did Cool Dude Tanker, all by the 183, a tank I'm notoriously shit at. Oh, that was enjoyable though. And that's the other thing about these skirmishes. Quickly go back to that. I was taking tanks that I really hate the 183. To be fair, it's a one-trick pony, and I don't like it. But in skirmish mode, you don't care because it's a bit of fun. It's good. I love it, and I enjoyed that. But sticking with tournaments, I was on my Super Conqueror video. I was asked 2 requests, and I've forgotten both of them. So I need to go quickly back to my Super Conqueror video, which is here somewhere. Here it is. So I was asked 2 requests by, who was it by now? It was by Catch202, who said, and I'll paraphrase everything. So it was, yes. Where is it? Regarding your coffee chats, I would like to hear you talk to Stubbo about his great posts on the EU forum. I assume that means your economics.
I'm guessing so.
I'm guessing so as well. Because he says he puts so much time and effort into his analysis without so many people. And it does. So, I mean, at the moment, you must have your work cut out because there's about, 15 tanks in the store?
Mental at times. Yeah, it's mental at times.
But what's in the store at the moment? What would you recommend?
Sorry, just finishing up a battle. Well, the Mark 6 has got to be one of the favourites at the moment in terms of tanks, but it's just a bit disappointing that they didn't reduce it in price this time around.
Mm-hmm.
What have we got? I mean, the tier 8s are usually a good bet. The Lurvers and the like, if they're still there. I'm not sure if they're still there.
Yeah, the American ones are. The Louvre's there for price still. Still for what, $12 or something? Something like that, 12 quid or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I always look for value, really, in the tanks. I mean, nobody really wants to be rushing after the tanks when they first come out.
No.
So, yeah, I'm always looking for the value in the offers, working out where you're going to get the best bang for the buck, because I don't think that people realise when things are sold for gold, how to really equate that to hard cash.
Yeah.
And what you're really spending your money on. So, as a rule of thumb, I tell everyone that if you multiply the gold by 3 and divide by 100, that gives you a rough idea of the sort of cash that wargaming is equivalent in the tanks to. So a 7,000 gold tank is about £21, $21-ish.
Yeah.
In those sort of terms. And just ask yourself.
Now what currency is that in?
Right, I would say in UK pounds or US dollars, they balance it. In euros, they're about around the same sort of mark.
Fair. Okay. Anyways, talking about price, I got a pop-up offer for the FCM50T for like $9.
Yeah.
The FCM50T.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was one I could get it. I get it, no equipment for $9. Or I can get it, one of the skins, all the equipment, and like 2,000 gold for 15.
Honestly, the FCM50T legendary camouflages, I don't like them. Like, I think they're supposed to be football-like, but they just come off as ugly.
That's not a bad deal, though. Really.
Twisted camo.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
But I would buy it because the FCM50T is not a good tank.
It is, if you know how to use it.
Yes,
Well,
Yeah, it can be a good tank, yes.
But sure, it's not. It's one of those.
It's a very feast or famine tank.
Yeah.
You're either going to get instantaneously deleted off the face of the earth, or you're going to sit there, bounce everything because nobody realizes the fact that your sides can bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the FCM, I love it, man. I'm like...
Yeah, the FCM's
definitely-
it's okay.
The problem I have with the FCM
underrated
is
tank,
it's so
for sure.
big and its frontal armor.
It's great
And
for ramming.
even the turret armor
Yes.
is trash.
It's a great
No,
Thought.
it's trash, it's troll.
No, it can be. I enjoy that tank. It can be. It's one of those. It's a strange tank, and it's like another strange tank that a lot of people don't like, which I think is very underrated. Is the T-71, the American Light. A lot of people hate it. They think it's a trash tank. It's actually a really, really good tank, and it has really trolly armor. Funnily enough, even for a light. Um,
The thing is, I liked the T71 back when I had my true reroll account. I liked it on that account. Playing on this account, I hate the thing. I keep losing in it and
No,
dying in
I
it.
love it, and I think it's a great tank, and it's like the FCM. The FCM is another one of those tanks. It's not the easiest tank to play, but once you understand it, it's really nice.
Well, I think the problem was when I played it this time, it's because we had new tanks to face in it, and that I didn't have the last time I played it. So
I mean, a lot of people come on stuff. It's like the okay. It's not the same as the AMX A4 M4, which is a trolley tank. I mean, that's a great tank. I mean, the armor on that thing is unbelievable. To be fair.
you mean the 49?
The
Yeah.
M4 Emily 49.
Yeah, the M4 Emily.
It's,
Yeah,
it's close to a tank.
The 45,
Yeah. That's a great game, Sarah. I'm glad you sent it. I'm glad you finally sent the right one. In answer to your question, Javid, I am on the Russian server. It's just that I've never played on the Russian server, so I don't know is the honest answer. So, can't answer that question.
I've got to say, though, I mean, just going back to the economics for a bit, I think the value of gold has been eroded significantly in the game right now. Wargaming gives so much of it away, and most of the new stuff they bring, they charge hard cash for.
And plus, you have the gold boosters as well, where you can get gold every now and then.
Exactly.
So yeah, you're right. It has been devalued
collectors,
a little bit.
Yeah, most collectors, I think you'll find they've got a stash. I mean, I've got a stash of gold, 111,000 gold on my account, and nothing to spend it on. Every offer comes with gold. Crates like the new offer come with gold.
Yeah, I think I've got something like 90-odd thousand, 93,000, 94,000 gold. And plus I've got another almost 2,000 odd gold in the, in your store. You get gold sort of. Oh, it's like a certificate, and if you put them all together, I've got gold there somewhere. Another 2K of that somewhere. That Jono every time I go into my store complains about, why don't you cash it in? Because what am I going to do with it?
It's certainly not a cheap game for a collector. I think this year we're on track for new content costing over £1,200 or $1,200, $1,300, but for all the new tanks in the game, that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you calculate that, how are you calculating that with regard to the containers? Are you looking for the guaranteed price or not the guaranteed price?
Yeah, for the guaranteed. I mean, for crate tanks, it's about £700 a year, and for non-crate tanks, it's about £500 a year, based on the average prices of stuff coming out. That's about what you typically expect to see. So,
and that's just content. That's not buying ammunition and credits, because people do that. Yeah. Which makes me laugh, which is why I keep saying, guys, doesn't matter what clan you're in, get in tournaments. Easiest way to earn credits, telling you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as I put up in the articles, just skip one or two sales on a tank and you save at least 50% off the start price usually.
Wow. Well, there you go.
So, and the crates, I mean, that's... You'll say you'll get about 2/3 off the price. So whereas a super conch will cost most people, I think about 50% of people will probably be able to get it for about 110 quid.
About that, yeah.
The other 50% will be about 210. Same in dollars, there or thereabouts. But you wait for the first time it comes to the store, and it'll be 20 to 24,000 gold. So 60 to 70 UK pounds, US dollars, that sort of ballpark.
Well, considering the state of the Super Conqueror at the moment, I hope they don't put it in the crates twice, but who knows?
Well, the only tank they've done that so far with is the T22.
Sam, you're always losing brain cells. Let's be honest. It's nothing.
Wouldn't be too surprised.
It's nothing new.
Well, I suppose they did that with the Scorpion as well, didn't they? They did that twice in a row.
Sexy Zoom, yeah, you're right.
I think the T22 has only been available in like one Christmas game and crates because it's overpowered.
Yeah, I'm just hoping they don't do it with the rest of the American tanks that are due. They should all be regular store purchases, but I just hope they do it for gold because that's the one thing that's they changed their pricing policies about 2 years ago, and they stopped giving away offers for new tanks for gold, and it's pretty much all hard cash now. So they completely devalued gold for those people that are collecting tanks.
Oh yeah. Now the pop-up offers, if they're for gold, they're usually for like an avatar. It's like, here's the temporary avatar, and you can buy the permanent one for 800 gold. It's like,
Camera girl,
why
Sam.
did I get a tank?
That's definitely worth it. Just buy it, man.
Still glad people are out there who use the
Gold, but-
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, lots of people enjoy your economics stuff, mate.
Yeah.
It is incredibly
Well,
useful.
but speaking of American tanks, Zoodles was doing his review for the T-2065, and he was like, "Oh, the talking about back when they did their trailer for the T-2065 and showing the armor was very bouncy, and it's like, no, that's not true. The whole armor is pretty easy to pin for like other heavies.
Oh, the turret
And then he
is
was
rock
playing
on.
battles where he wasn't hold down. He gets Doodles, what are you doing? You're supposed to hold down this tank.
Yeah, I mean, turret wise,
It's basically a more armored version. That's
yeah, it is. It's just a different turret. That's all. So that was the first part of Catch 202's request, which was to have a chat with Stubbo. The second part involves Jory, who's still here, but he's gone. He's gone muted.
Me?
And it says, I would love to hear in your coffee chat if you could ask Jory about the epic tournament win over Legion that was streamed on every stream. It was an incredible matchup and absolutely awesome to watch. So, Jory, what do you have to say about that?
Well, it was a nice one.
So
he has the floor. That's all he has to say.
I mean, I wasn't watching the stream because I was in an Ascent tour myself, but I did hear it was an epic game.
Yeah, the first game was really close.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second one we screwed up a bit, so it was
One
equal.
Ah.
1-1. And the last match was on Heroldsdorf, and it was a 2 versus 3.
Yeah.
I was still alive against 3 Legion guys, but they were on low HPs. And I had half HP, and it was still pretty close, but.
And how's Rolling enjoying rolling out in these tours? How's he enjoying it? He's a good play. He's an underrated player, Mr. Swarm, by the way. Brian is better than people think.
Rolling is a good player.
He is.
He's a good commentator, but also a good player.
Yeah, he is. A lot of people forget that about him. He's actually a good player. Yeah, he's got everything going for him. The beard, the commentary, the playing. Oh, good old Rolling. So that was that. There were other things we need to talk about. Oh, what else was there? There was other stuff. I can't remember what it was now. We've done Summer Ascent. We've done the Super. Oh, that was right. And someone's just asked as well. So it was Mediocre Joker who asked. Has anybody been experiencing dodgy RNG and ghost shots recently?
Oh, there is a lot of ghost shots. Yeah, I've noticed too. Like straight through. I even looked at the replay. Perfect side of a 51-20 in a 2-6-8. Boom! I was like, yes, boy, and just completely faced through. Still have the screenshots in my clan Discord probably that I can send you.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of ghost shots last night in the tour and afterwards on the live stream, and yeah, in the 5v5 skirmish, and I mean, I know Wargaming did change it 3 or maybe 4 updates ago. The penetration RNG, they did change it. It used to be, just put in the picture, the penetration RNG used to be, I think, set at 5%. and now it's gone up. They've increased it to 10%, I believe, which means you will get more bouncing because it's RNG. But that's only penetration. It's only penetration. That's it's not RNG. It's just penetration RNG. Now I don't know if that's had an effect. Maybe it has, and But I've been hearing people saying, "Well, I'm aimed on a spot that it shouldn't bounce," and I've had a few of those where I've shot AP into the tracks and it's done nothing. It's bounced off the tracks, which is bizarre, to be fair. I've not come across that, but I've had a few ghost shots where they've just gone straight through the tank, and you can see it just go straight through the tank. And I remember watching Every Good Name Is Taken doing a stream, and he actually went back into super slow-mo to look at where his shot went, and you see it go through the turret, and you see the puff of smoke as it hits the ground behind the tank, and it registers no shot. Brilliant. So yeah, I just wondered if anybody else is coming across some dodgy RNG, because everybody likes to complain about RNG.
Obviously.
Well, not too often, but sometimes.
I haven't had it a lot. It's not that it's not manageable. I've had more ghost shots. Bounces is probably due to the fact that I'm just crap and not a very good player. But ghost shots is a bit different. Although Stubbo said he bounced off the arse of a... You say you bounced off the arse of a 183?
No, the 183 bounced off the arse of my Victor's CR.
Oh, that was right. Yeah, the other way around. That's a tricky thing to pull off. That.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
I bet he was happy.
Yeah, I got a lucky player after that battle.
Oh, I bet you did. But yeah. But we always have these sort of ghosts in the machine where every time they do updates. So at least I noticed. I don't know if it's in the other tournaments, but I did notice that they brought spectator mode back in the 5v5 skirmish quick tours, which was nice.
It won't be back in the normal ones, I think.
Oh, there you go then. So that's nice. That's a nice touch. We got spectator mode back. So...
No, it's not gonna be in the normal tours, I think.
No, I don't think it will be, but it's nice that it's back for those quick tours for 5v5 skirmishes. It was nice. It's a nice touch.
They found enough hamsters to pedal faster.
Something like that, yeah. Something like that. But couple of
all tournaments, what that is just go in, focus fire, and delete, and it's the one with the best focus fire wins, basically.
Which I think is great. I think that's fantastic. Like I said,
it's amazing.
I do like that.
We go to 5 in a row.
Yeah. A couple of other updates for you. About 2 months ago, I kind of did a charity. It wasn't a charity. It was a fundraiser for Every Good Name Is Taken, who now is just called Every, or every good Hellcat needs a camo, or whatever his name may be at the moment, and to get him a better computer, because. In fairness, and I'm not giving away any secrets here. His current setup is a POS, which is a piece of shit if anybody misses that. And I think Lockney said it belonged in a museum, and he knows things about computers. So, but anyway, we ran this fundraiser, and it's still sort of ongoing in the background. But he's let me know today that the first parts for him to upgrade his computer have arrived. So he's getting there. He sent me a picture of it. He's got an SSD. He's got a solid state drive. He's got a hard drive. He's got the top of the range Viper memory card, not memory card, graphics card, dual channel memory. So he's getting there. It'll be up and running soon. So he'll be able to stream properly. Which brings me to my next point. Those of you who don't know, there's a chap out there called Wild Ones Halper, who used to. I can't have. He runs Metis, I believe now, or
yeah, he does.
He's the clan leader Metis.
And
yeah,
Nice. He was the leader of.
He was the leader of Nice, but now he's the leader of Metis. He has finally started to stream. Yay! It's taken time, but he's getting there, bless him. So he's got a new channel up and running, the link is in my community tab. Guys, please just drop in, say hello, and hit subscribe, because he's a nice chap. He's a really good player. He knows his stuff, and you know, give him some love. Get him in the mood for streaming, because you know, the more streamers out there, the more content can be streamed. The more chances that clans who aren't the usual suspects, like Endgame Legion, blah blah blah, will get their game showcased as well in the professionals tours, because some teams unfortunately do miss out because there aren't enough streamers to go around. So give him some love if you don't mind. That'd be very nice of you. He's a nice chap. He's a lovely chap.
Yes.
So that was my bit, and then Javid had asked, have I ever been to the Tank Museum in Bovington? I've lived in the Tank Museum in Bovington, funnily enough.
You lived in it.
Well, next to it. Well, to be fair, I was a staff officer's course there, and I should have not been there, but I was effectively in the Tank Museum more than I was on the course. So that was a long time ago. It's a great place. I mean, I love Bovington Tank Museum. It used to be my most favourite tank museum in the world until I went to Kabinka, and that thing blew me away. I mean, wow. I mean, most of the tanks you see in the game that you think are not real, like the SU-100Y, the IS-7, blah blah blah, they've got them in Kabinka. They are there.
And they've got a mouse, right?
They've got the mouse, yes. I've got a picture of me. I tell you, you know, I'm 5'10". I'm not a tall guy. I'm only about 5'10", which is what 180 centimeters or whatever it is. And standing next to the mouse, I look like a dwarf. The thing is a lot bigger than you realise. I mean, the thing is massive, and it really is huge, and it's unbelievably wide. And you know, when you get close to it, you can see where the Russians have been shooting stuff at it, obviously to test its armor out. And it hasn't penetrated. It's just, you can see it's just like cut it. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable tank.
I'm playing the mouse right now.
What's up about the Wii mouse? The one that still...
Say again, sorry?
You were talking about the real mouse, the one that they put back together.
Yeah, it's not. It's the one that they married the hull of Mouse 1 to the turret of Mouse 2, because both Mouses were completed, but the Germans destroyed them. They destroyed both of them. But Mouse 1, the turret was completely destroyed on Mouse 1, whereas the hull on Mouse 2 was completely destroyed. So they just married the bits that weren't destroyed.
Makes sense.
But they've also got the tanks like the Sturmil, which is a real tank, did exist. Admittedly, only 2 of them are made, but they saw action in Stalingrad, which is where the Russians captured it. They've got a Ferdinand, which I know, an Elephant, which is a variation of the Ferdinand, was on loan to Bovington from America. But they are different tanks. They're both obviously based. They're both the similar tank. But the Elephant has slightly different elements to it, to the Ferdinand. And the Ferdinand was captured...
in game, technically the Elephant?
Yes. The Ferdinand in game is technically the Elephant. But the one they've got at Kubinka is the one they captured, the one that everybody... If you go on Google and type in Ferdinand Porsche tank, the pictures of the ones at Kursk, that is the one they've got in Kubinka. Whereas the American one is the one they captured at Anzio, so in Italy. Oh, yes, the Carl Garat is there as well. It's massive, huge, I've got pictures of all these. I think I did a like a little montage a while ago video, and they're all there. And like I said, the IS-7, the IS-4, that strange object. What is it? 702? I can't remember the name of it now. The one that looks like it's a ball at the bottom with 4 tracks. Yeah, they've got that.
That's the 279.
Yeah, it's a bizarre tank, man.
79E.
The 279. That's the one.
There's a lot of objects.
It's a bizarre tank.
An object 777, an object 260 or something.
Well, unbelievable. And the gate guard was an IS-8 at Kubinka. Used to be an IS-8, which is not called an IS-8 in Russia. It's actually called a T-10.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, it's the tanks they've got there it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And don't get me wrong, I love Bovington. Bovington Tank Museum's great, and majority of the tanks in Bovington still work, unlike Kubinka. But for rare tanks, then Kubinka is just spectacular. It's amazing.
Too bad nobody ever. They didn't recover the T-150 prototype, right? There was only one of them. And
No, I think they've got. One. I'm not sure. They've got a lot of rare tanks. A lot of the Russian prototypes. They've got the prototype T-34 in Kubinka, which is really weird. Really weird looking tank.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, it's a bizarre tank. But it's like America used to have a really good kind of tank museum at Fort Benning, which was the Aberdeen Proving Grounds. But they've got rid of it, kind of, which is a shame. Because that had some really bizarre tanks. That had the MT-70, which we all know in the game is obviously the Kampfwagen 70. And they've got that there, and they had the Ferdinand, their Elephant was there, and they've got other tanks there as well. But I believe it's closed down. Aberdeen's closed down, which is a shame. They had the Panther 2 there as well, but I think that's been moved now somewhere else. But they had a Panther 2. Admittedly, it wasn't the proper Panther 2, because what they did, they took the Panther 2 that they captured, didn't have a turret, so they just married the Schmautern turret to the Panther 2. And that's why a lot of people think that the Panther 2 has that particular turret, when that wasn't meant to be the turret for the Panther 2. It was meant to be. The Panther 2 was meant to look more like the E75. Funnily enough. But everybody seems to think that the Panther 2 had the Schmautern turret, and it did and it didn't. I mean, some of them did, some of them didn't. And there is a concept of what a Tiger 2 with a Schmautern type turret would have looked like, and basically it was to put in the infrared guidance, gunnery systems.
Speaking of Tiger 2, somebody a long time ago on the Blitz Discord asked where the idea of the Tiger 2 having a 105mm came from, because I mean for the game, but
I think for the game they did toy with these ideas, and you know, I mean in the game you get a lot of this, and it just helps them move you on to the next tank. So
yeah, because in real life the Tiger 2 just used the 88. Just like the Tiger 1, pretty much.
Yeah, but they did plan, and had the war extended, it would have had the bigger gun. And there is a concept drawing out there of a Tiger 2 with that bigger gun, and it would have happened. It would have happened. So.
But the war ended.
But the war ended, yeah. And this is the thing. I mean, don't forget, after the Tiger 2, realistically, even in the game. So Tiger 2 is what? Tier 8. So Tier 9 and Tier 10 German tanks really didn't exist, other than just design drawings. The E100 existed as a hull, and that was it. Nothing else. And then there was a gun, but it wasn't really a gun. And so these things didn't really exist. Not really. None of the Tier 10 German tanks and Tier 9 German tanks really existed. Apart from, obviously the Jag Tiger existed, the Hunting Tiger as it's called, but it's more akin to the Tier 8 premium version than the Tier 9 version. Because obviously the Jag Panther 2 didn't exist. It's a tank that never existed. Waffle tractors and Borsigs and grills. There were mock-ups, but there were never any real tanks. They were just mock-ups. And they were just looking at ways that they could put big guns onto wrecked chassis. So when you look at it, I mean, the Waffle tractor is basically a big gun on top of a Panther 4 chassis. That's all it is.
I think the Rhine Metal Borsig was like a modified Etzer chassis or something like that.
Well, the Etzer came out towards the end of the war. I mean, that's the irony. So the Etzer's what, Tier 4? It's Tier 4 TD, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Tier 4.
When realistically, if it was a true timeline, it would be a Tier 8.
Yeah, that would work.
Exactly. I mean, but the Etzer would have faced T-34-85s and Jumbos and, you know, Churchill, things like that. But this is where the timeline of Blitz sort of is all over the place. It's all over the place. And because they've got to try and...
Tiger 2 facing IS-3, and I'm pretty sure IS-3 was a post-war tank.
IS-3 was developed at the end of the war.
It was late in the war?
Yeah. They developed it.
It was late war.
Yeah, it was 1945. And 1945.
At the very end of the war.
And the first time we got a glimpse of it was in the Victory Parade in Berlin after the war.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But it never saw action in the war. The IS-2 saw action in the war, but not the IS-3. And it was
more. I mean, it might have been made then, but it was more of a post-war tank.
Well, yeah, it was. Strictly speaking, it was the last Russian proper heavy that they developed. I mean, don't get me wrong; they did make the IS-5, the IS-6, the IS-7, the IS-8, but they never really went into. Well, the IS-8 sort of did as the T-10, but the IS-7, the IS-4, etc., never went into full production. And the IS-3 was realistically the last ever Russian mass-produced heavy tank. And after that, they just went medium light tanks with the T-62 onwards. So, and they never really went back to these heavy tanks.
Makes sense, because soon after, heavy tanks started becoming obsolete because of the anti-tank weapons.
Yeah. But, so yeah, the timeline in Blitz is a little bit out. I mean, it is. I mean, the Mark 6, technically speaking, is a 1970s tank. So the Chieftain Mark 6 at Tier 10 is 1970s, not even post-war, really. It's very much a modern battle tank.
But it's Cold War. It's Cold War MBT.
It's still mod. It's like the Sheridan. The Sheridan is 1970s, 1960s. Sorry.
Yeah, if they're gonna do that, I don't know why they don't just push the envelope too. Because, I mean, according to Google, the Cold War ended in 1991. That was when.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean. The tanks that we have, strictly speaking, that really are Cold War, like the Mark 6, like the Sheridan, like the T-62A, like the Leo 1, they were, I mean, the Chieftain Mark 6 is an anomaly, to be honest with you. The others were developed around towards the end of the war or immediately after the war. So the Leopard 1 can trace its roots back to like 1945, roughly. 1945 to 1949. Same as the T-62A, the same as the Sheridan. They can trace their roots back to like very, very late 40s, early 50s. The Chieftain tank itself can trace its roots back also to that period of time. But you have to remember, and this is the irony, the British Army, straight after the war, its main battle tank was the Conqueror. which we have at Tier 9. But that was the main battle tank. It was the Conqueror. And the Chieftain came along as a development from the Conqueror much later on. but it traces its roots back to the 50s. Whereas if you then try to bring in things like the M1 Abrahams or the Challenger, etc., etc.,
I'm not suggesting bringing in the MBTs like the Abrams, but like some of the light tanks, like the GF5, because they don't.
Yeah,
they
but-
don't have composite.
yeah, but they fit firmly outside of the timeline. These weren't even conceived in the 50s, basically.
Sure. Argument.
And that's where wargaming, I think, draw their line. And you'll tend to find that they start in the late 1930s, well, mid 1930s, and they finish around the early part of the 1950s with their tanks. So we don't get any tanks realistic. Okay, we had the Mark 1, but as a one-off tank a long time ago for a special. But other than that, we've got no World War One or Interwarrior, those development tanks. It's like we don't have the German A7, etc., etc. And there are a lot of tanks.
Well, we have the French, how is it called? The first French tank.
Yes, we do, actually.
The FT 17 or something.
That's the
like
first
that.
French tank, the best tank of World War One.
Yeah, we do have that one. That is a fair point. It's bizarre that they've done that. But then, wargaming. They blur the lines with their timeline, but they're pretty good at keeping in that sort of 20, almost 30-year period. And if they brought it out, the Mark 6 was not the best of the chieftains, to be honest with you. Which is why they probably picked that one rather than, say, a Chieftain Steel Brew or something. And,
Why not Chieftain Mark 1?
Well, they could have brought that out, but you've got the Centurion, which is basically that tank.
No.
Well, the FV4202 is actually the real Mark 1. The FV4202 is the prototype Chieftain, by the way.
Yeah, and then you had the Mark 1 and then the Mark 2.
So, but they could have done that, but they picked the Mark 6 for a reason, and it's probably the reason being when they looked at the parameters of all the other tanks, the Mark 6 was probably the one that could reasonably cope at tier 10 without dominating tier 10. Whereas if you stick, say, I don't know, a Leo 2 in the game, in theory, because of the ammunition it has and the velocity of the gun and everything, it will decimate tier 10, realistically.
I don't know why they didn't include more Leopard prototypes or even the standard Panzers, which led to the Leopard prototype.
Well, we got the Leo PTA and we got the Leo 1, so, and the ones that lead to that, we've got... They've done quite well. The German line they struggle with, to be fair, and the reason they struggle with it, with the exception of the German and the Russian lines. So this is the thing you have to remember. No German tank except the Leo 1 was anything other than a war tank, developed or considered for the war. The Leo 1 being the exception to that rule. Russia, all their tanks, in real terms, were developed during the war. The other nations, however, no, they weren't developed during the war. And therein lies the problem. So if they're going to give you an E100 and an IS-7, what are they going to give you for the British line? What are they going to give you for the American line, etc., etc., etc.? And that's why they were struggling. So they picked tanks that the FV215B never existed. It's a tank that doesn't exist, never existed. But they gave us that tank because they have to give you something to compete with an E100 and a mouse.
Sure, but the fun thing is that and I wonder if when they made the 250B heavy, they just didn't know about because the Super Conqueror, I think I read, is based off of. There was one Conqueror where they took it and they slapped some space armor on it, shot some stuff at it, and then there was one other Conqueror thing that they They took those two things and combined it and made a super.
Oh, mate,
So
there
it's
there
kind
are.
of fake, but it's not as fake as the 215B heavy.
I mean, if you looked at it, if I mean, you could go. In fairness, wargaming could go hundreds of different ways. For example, they could bring out a KV2 that is a German KV2 because they existed. The Germans had KV2s. They took them. They could bring out a Sherman. Now check this one out, and this is a real tank, by the way. So take a Sherman Super Jumbo, okay, and encase the entire hull in concrete, and that tank existed. You can check it out on the internet. It saw action in World War II on the Western Front, where American crews would encase the entire bottom hull with about, a foot of concrete. I mean, it must have carried a shed load of weight, but it was apparently almost impenetrable. Imagine that.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And imagine if they brought that into Blitz, you wouldn't be able to pen anything.
But now the Panzer 58, I don't get why they gave that to Germany as a premium, because after researching it, it's like that's a Swiss tank. That's not German. That's Swiss.
Well, that's like everything. I mean, the T-55A is not
Although the German
a hybrid nation. Let's be fair.
in the project a little bit, but it's not German. It's Swiss.
But there's lots of things out there, and then obviously they give us other tanks like Gravediggers, Smashers, blah blah blah.
Yeah, completely fake tanks.
Yeah, but you have to look at what they're trying to do. They're trying to. It can't be easy for them to keep thinking of tanks that will fit the meta, because there aren't that many tanks out there. To be fair, not really.
And then you also have the issue of the Warhammer 40k tanks, one of which was a complete success, and the other which was a huge failure.
Yeah, it's like everything.
I think both the Warhammer 40k tanks have issues. The Vindicator's problem is the plow, which should be pretty much impenetrable. It has
Okay, but still, the gun on it is just pants. Like, it's.
Well, some people have
At
been
tier
saying
7
the gun on it is actually like the Stern Tigers, but Wargaming reduced
It
its
is
size
what it-
because
it is
a
what
gun
it should
that
be.
big and Blitz would be just have ridiculous damage, and it would not work. The Predator has some issues as well, and it's kind of it's not.
Yeah,
great.
but I mean, it's not near as bad as the
Oh, the Vindicator's an horrendous tank. But I mean, these are specials for the people who like that sort of stuff. It's like the Gills and Panzer series. I mean, these are specials for people who like that kind of thing.
Let's also not forget where the Lupus, the Hafen, and all that all
Yeah.
them came from.
Yeah. I mean, and I know a lot of people bemoan them, but I don't mind them. I mean, they're always around tier 7, so what's it matter?
I love the Lupus though.
I thought Lupus was
is
really
fun.
Yeah, Lupus is a good
Lupus is
tank.
fun.
He's good. I think it's good for the
Yeah,
game.
they're all tier 7 and 8.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for the game. Unless you're a pure, we've argued this on the forums, and Stubbo will tell you this. It's not a tank sim. It's not a tank sim game. It's
not at all.
and we could all sit here being purists, saying, well, Lupus never existed, Tankenstein never existed. Hey, E100 didn't exist. Waffle Tractor didn't exist. The 183 didn't exist. If you're going to be a pure heart, then be a pure heart. And virtually all the tanks past tier 7 never existed, really. Well, tier 8 maybe. Well, no, yeah, tier 8, tier 7, none of them.
They didn't exist in the capacity of being like mass produced. That they were just.
Oh, some of them didn't even get off the drawing
They were
board.
still prototypes.
Some of them weren't.
mock-ups,
Some of them weren't.
I'm pretty sure the IS-6 was that way.
Blueprints or concept drawings that he used just breaking.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though. I mean, this is why I did a video on it, saying, everybody bemoans fantasy tanks. Guys, half the tanks you drive in are fantasy tanks. They never really existed, and those that did exist, they were shit. I mean, seriously, take the Mouse. if the mouse would have actually, the mouse never really saw, it saw a little bit of action, as in it was rolled out of its yard to be like stuck there to shoot things. It never shot anything. They blew it up. The mouse in the E100 as concepts would never have worked. No bridge in Europe would take the weight. No bridge.
No, they said for a mouse. They said for the mouses to work, they would have a snorkel system, connect a cable between them, have one drive across under the water of a river, and then to have the other one drive across.
Yeah, they thought about that, and then they realised as soon as they drove a mouse into the water, it would sink because it's 180 tons.
Yeah, so it wouldn't really work.
No, it wouldn't work. When they tested it, it was sinking into normal ground, and the only way they realised that they could use it was by sticking it to the battlefield was by sticking it on a train, which was totally impractical. And it's the same with the E100. These tanks are completely impractical, and for example, in the game, whilst the mouse is slow to get from the spawn point to where it needs to go, at least you get there eventually. In real life, you wouldn't get there. Imagine going over imagine that bridge or the two bridges on Port Bay. It would collapse under the mouse. Drive them out, collapse.
Yeah, 188 tons.
Yeah.
At least whoever decided Hitler's rat wasn't ever going to be made, because that thing would have just been target practice for bombing.
Absolutely. So a lot of these tanks are fantasy tanks, which is why I don't mind the fantasy tanks, because it's if you want to be a diehard about it, then you have to be a diehard full on. But they never made it past tier 7, tier 8, which is a good thing. But they're there for a bit of fun, and I don't begrudge anybody that at all. As for the Sturmtiger, no, that should never come into the game.
No, definitely not.
I mean,
maybe for a fun game mode only.
Now that I agree with. That I agree with. Bring it in for like they did for the Mark 1, where only Sturmtiger could face another Sturmtiger.
Like they did on PC.
Yeah. That would be good fun. That would be good. That would be interesting. But I can't imagine how long the load time will be, because in real life it took half an hour.
Really?
Yeah. If you have a look on a real Sturmtiger, and there are ones existing. I've got a picture of one from Kubinka. There's a crane on the back of it, and the crane. What they do, they have to open the turret hatch, and the turret hatch, unlike normal tanks, is about a meter long. It's a big, like, oblong, meter long thing. And they take that off, they bring the crane round, the crane goes down into the turret, they put the shell on the crane jolly thingy, on the dolly, and then they have to pick the crane up, the shell with the crane, then they load it. It's a ball's ache. It takes about 30 minutes to do. I mean, the shells are massive. They've got one in the Imperial War Museum. I mean, these things are huge, absolutely huge. They're bigger than Bushka, and he's a tall lad.
So I wonder how the vehicle, reacted when they fired it, because.
Well, I mean, they only used it. It was only really used on the Western Front. One was captured by the Russians, but apparently it only saw action as all of them only saw action as siege weapons, like the Carl Gustav and things like that. It was only it's a siege weapon. It's a bunker buster. It's to blow buildings up. I mean, it's massive. There's a picture of one that the Americans are inspecting somewhere in Germany. And this American GI is actually the barrel diameter is bigger than him. It's outrageous. It's an absolutely crazy tank. But the load time. Talk about the 183's load time being excessive. Sturmtiger the game would be over before you get the next shell in.
Now, what if America got their 105mm enforced Sherman. And also there's the SO 122. I forgot what nation made that, but
Well, this is the thing. I mean, they could do.
122mm.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you know, there's lots of things they could do, but it just wouldn't sit well with the game. It's like America produced in the 50s a nuclear capable tank. Imagine that. Russia made one as well. That fires nuclear weapons.
The TV-8 is an ugly tank.
Can you imagine that? You'll be sat in the spawn, just point the gun in the air, fire it into the enemy spawn, watch the mushroom cloud, and automatically get a Raz.
Yeah, that would be insane.
That would be fantastic. Oh, it would be stupid. So, I mean, I think they do well to get the meta right, to be honest with you. We all cry and bemoan it. But, you know, I said the other day, what is it? I mean, Stubbo can correct me on this. I think there's, 415 tanks that you can get. You can't all get them, like the IS-6 Fearless. And I haven't seen the Hydra stat, the Panzer IV Hydra stat for a long time.
I have the Hydra stat, but it's not a very good tank. It's like the Panzer IV, they bought Panzer IV updates ago.
Yeah,
it's a little bit faster, but
422.
Oh, it's 422. There you go. Look, so we've got 422 tanks. Realistically, they're not all up for grabs. Like I said, there are some one-offs in there, like the IS-6 VLS, etc., etc. But
the one tank you absolutely cannot get anymore is the Kenyans.
That's another one. I mean, I've got it, but yeah, you can't get it anymore. But you know, let's be generous and say there are 10 tanks you can't get. That gives you 412 tanks up for grabs, and that's a lot of tanks, guys, to play with. And you know, if you played one, it's going to take you a whole year to play all that. If you played one of those tanks every day, there's only 365 days in a year, so you know you're gonna.
It'll take you more than a year.
It'll take you more than a year, exactly. So yeah, I don't bemoan. What I bemoan is when they release tank after tank after tank, because I don't think they need to. I think they need to release game mode now after game mode. And that's why I'm liking the skirmishes and the tier 8 tournaments, because that's what they're thinking. They're thinking of changing the game modes, which is interesting. That's a step in the right direction, I think.
If I were them, I would just make every game mode permanent and make a separate statistic for every game mode.
I think they'd like to, but I think what they've got a server issue, haven't they, or capacity issue. I think that's why they only bring them in for limited times. I think it's a capacity issue. I don't know. I mean, I'm a complete computer moron. I have no idea. I mean, Stubbo knows a lot about computers. He bloody makes the damn things. But
all sorts of stuff. Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know what they've said themselves.
The server computer network must have a limit, so.
Well, bandwidth shouldn't be an issue. You can overcome bandwidth. It's whether or not they've got enough tin to provide all the simulations.
Yeah.
Because they are hosting the battles. You're not hosting them on your tablet or your phone. They're being hosted on their server.
No, the server hosts the battles. You just do your own little.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's a capacity issue. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I don't think their servers can cope with 7 game modes. You know, if they brought all the game modes in, I think this is probably one of the reasons why ratings is only available for a period of time, because they just.
I think. Or they should do just one game mode, and then rotate it every week or so.
Now, but about ratings being available, because in A, unless you're like up at night, like late at night, you're not really gonna play much ratings, in my opinion, because it starts in the evening, and that's like I gotta go to bed. I need to sleep, man. I can't be up all night playing ratings.
That's the only reason they limit ratings, is just because there's not enough players on at night to fulfill the teams.
Oh,
generally.
there you go. Yeah, there you go. I mean, so it'd be nice if they. I mean, I suppose it's the lesser of two evils for them. It's easier for them to give more tanks than it is to give. Increase their capability.
tanks make money, given game modes doesn't. And
That's very true. That's very true as well. But you know, it'd be nice if we had different game modes. And like we said previously, it'd be nice if we could have something like they do on WOTPC, which is these. It's not these campaigns. That would be good. I'd like that. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Same.
Campaigns would be good. Anyway, and with that, I think we'll knock it on the head because I know a lot of you are playing today in the Ascent tour later on. Probably Stubbo, Jory, Stygian, most likely.
Yeah.
Dokodomi.
No, we're not doing it right now. Still, we're going through a bit of changes in the clan, so it's a bit messy at the moment. So we're not going yet, but we're probably gonna do it in like max a week.
Okay, cool. And well, most of you will be rolling out. I think I'm rolling out. I'm not sure yet. Depends if Sam has kicked me or not, because. I joke. But yeah, so those of you who are playing tonight, have fun and good luck. I'm sure you will enjoy it. Bloody Jory and his OP clan. Where are you on the leaderboard, R2K? You're pretty high up there, aren't you? Second, there you go. Who's first? Endgame, isn't it? Souls! Brilliant. Oh, that's good. Nice to see that Souls
with Endgame.
Souls bouncing back from their disappointment of the Pro Series, which was a disappointment. They you know, they're a good team. They can do better than that. Same as Immol, they can do better than what they did. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, like I said, we played Winter War the other day. Oh, it's you know, and that's the thing. You know, this is what these tournaments do, as Stubbo said earlier. Because it gives certain clans the opportunity to fight against clans they wouldn't normally fight against. And I enjoyed fighting against Winter War. Didn't really enjoy playing. We played also the EU Chinese clan, what they called CHRD, Chard.
Yeah, Chard. Yeah.
Yeah, tough team. But it's all good fun.
That are clans that normally play through 8.
Yeah.
I used to.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of my clan members only have 1 tier 8 tank because they never played it.
Well, this is what Agile Hippo was telling me. And when we first rolled out, Yeetabix Sam was struggling to find anybody who had enough tier 8s to play. And everybody's like, well, I've got an IS5 and I've got an IS6. Hardly anybody. So, and obviously, you know, the OP tanks are not in the store at this moment in time. So the 252U, the 112-2, the Action X, they're not in the store at the moment. So if you haven't got them, then it's a struggle. So bless.
I mean, the Carnarvon is a bit of a meta tank.
Yeah.
You can get because of the speed of the reactive armor and BPM.
Oh, the Action X is a tough tank at tier 8. To be fair.
I think the Carnarvon is better for the tournaments because of the speed boost the reactive armor. Because if you get focus fire, the reactive armor is more useful. There is that.
The reactive armor is good. But as Banshee says there, no, I agree. I mean, the WZ112-2, that's a fantastic tournament tank for tier 8.
I'm not sure why they added reactive armor consumable, because it's kind of like adding ERA to a tank.
Actually, Banshee, I think it's a great tank. The 112-2 is a go-to tournament tank, and also is one of my go-to ratings tier 8 tanks.
112-2 is better than the other two Chinese tier 8 122mm or heavies.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, Glacial is not as good,
and it's a lot better than the Glacial.
The 111 is probably the worst of the three, in my opinion.
Possibly. Anyway, with that, those of you who are playing tonight, enjoy your games tonight. Good luck, have fun, and who knows? Might catch up with you again. Might catch up with you again, Stubbo. Might catch up with you, Johnny. Who knows?
Yeah.
Out there later. We won't be live streaming today, other than this, because obviously the tournament. Although I would normally say I'd live stream this tournament, but you don't want to hear the clan chat part. That's the thing. Sam can get a bit. How can I put this? How can I put this diplomatically? Over enthusiastic, let's say, with his motivational speeches. Yeah. Let's just put it there and leave it there. So right, those of you on YouTube, thank you for jumping in. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you for sending those things across. Those of you on Discord, again, thank you for your input, guys. It wouldn't be the same without you. And until the next time, thanks for dropping in, and I'll catch you all later. So bye for now.
Bye for now.